Hey, audience. So for my birthday was recently. Here, see, look at this thing. It's gold in one center. So there's the big doors. And see, when the Kings win, you can twist it and light the beam. Pretty cool.
You know they haven't won since you got that, right?
Well,
Hello and welcome back to the Eastman Sport Report, your father-son coach-player podcast about the Sacramento Kings and San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Max Eastman, joined once again by my co-host, Steven Eastman.
hello, Max. Hello, everybody out there in podcast land.
Wearing my shirt in mourning for the recent trading of De'Aaron Fox. He's not dead, but he's also not dead to me because,
But he's not number 5 anymore.
he's also not number 5 anymore. I've had this since, his second year on the Kings.
Yeah,
so
it's kind of small on you, but it still fits.
It fits enough.
Fits enough to wear. It shows
It's
off
sad.
your muscles, Max.
All my 4 muscles that are in my chest.
Okay, so before we get into all the NBA stuff, let's do
Because-
some NFL stuff.
Okay, so I have to look up the NFL awards because I do not know who have won all of them. I know who won MVP, though, and I know that we both got our predictions right for who won MVP. I also picked the guy because I thought there would be some voter fatigue. You know.
I know. Yes.
What do you want to say?
MVP. Well, we got it right. It was Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to start with the 2 Niner ones that got it. So Walter Payton, Man of the Year.
Yes. Well, former Niner. But
Former Niner. Eric Armstead. He was like the Niners Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee probably 4 years in a row or something like that. Your Sacramento tie-in. He's from Sacramento. He does most of his charity work he does
yes.
in Sacramento.
Yes.
So that's really awesome. But anyway, he's from Sacramento on the Niners.
Yeah,
And he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Walter Payton, great Christian dude. Tons of a great character, which is what that award's about: community and character. So congratulations, Eric Armstead, for winning that. Would you like to tell the other Niner that won an award?
The other Niner award is the Salute to Service Award, which doesn't get a lot of publication, and it's not one that you talk about. I don't really know if it has a patch like the Walter Payton Man of the Year, or does it have a trophy? If it does, I haven't seen it.
I don't know if it does.
But Salute to Service Award was won by George Kittle because he has a lot of family in the military and he knows what the struggle is like, or that for veterans and people who are currently in the military. So he likes to honor the people in service in any way that he can, at any opportunity he's given to. So
he's a great outgoing guy. I mean, George Kittle should retire as a 49er. I hope he does. I would think he's a Hall of Famer as well, with him being the best tight end of this era.
yes.
I mean, it's kind of neck and neck with Travis Kelce, but still he's up there. So good congratulations to George Kittle on that award. So if you go back through, yes, MVP was Josh Allen. We both predicted that on the last show. Over kind of Lamar Jackson was the second one.
Yes.
Coach of the Year was Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings.
Did you say that Kevin O'Connell's? Because I know I did.
I was thinking it was going to be, I don't remember what he said last time.
Dan Campbell for you?
No, I don't think it was
Okay.
going to be, because he kind of raised his expectations last time. I think it was Kevin O'Connell was going to win it. I don't think we went through every single one of them.
So Offensive Player of the Year was Saquon Barkley. That was expected.
yeah,
That's just the best offensive player that's not a quarterback.
Yeah,
Except for the times that it is.
Yeah.
Drew Brees. Anyways.
That one was totally predictable. He had a great year. We'll see
Defensive Player of the Year. I think I predicted this as well, was Broncos defensive back Patrick Surtain. Because if you look through the season, there's no solidified number one lineman or linebacker.
No one was breaking the record for sacks or anywhere close to the sack record. Patrick Surtain, he's a really good cornerback. I have no problem with the award. He's really good. I have no problem with him.
Throughout the season, Patrick Surtain only gave up 306 receiving yards.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Anyway, offensive rookie of the year? No, zero surprises here was Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, exactly. I think we both talked about that last time because when we were talking about like we were going back our things of which quarterback is going to be rookie quarterback is going to be the best. Now I do have to say Bo Nix probably made it a little bit closer toward the end of the season.
I do agree, except for the almost 3 game skid that he had to end the season where the Broncos almost missed the playoffs.
Yeah,
in their 3 win-in games. But.
Yeah, defensive rookie of the year is Jared Verse
of the LA Rams.
Yes.
Comeback player of the year. I disagree with this because what did he come back from? He was good, and then he got hurt for half a season, and then Joe Burrow, was good again.
He had a season-ending injury in 2023.
That happens to a lot of people. Like, why don't you give it to Ricky Pearsall? He got shot. Yeah, you have to come back from that.
That's true, but he didn't play as good as Joe Burrow did.
He's Ricky Pearsall.
Now did you also know he's the second time he's won this award? He won it in 2021. He wanted it when he
he said in his acceptance speech that this isn't the award that you want to be nominated for twice.
Exactly, but he did. I think there was other people that probably should have won it, but more than him. The other award that I see that's kind of notable, assistant coach of the year,
Ben Johnson.
Yeah, of the Detroit Lions. Which is good. He got a job now, the head coach of the Chicago Bears, so he has Caleb Williams to work with.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But hey, good job, Ben Johnson. Detroit Lions, I wonder how good they're going to be next year. We'll find out because they lost both of their assistants. I think they lose their special teams one too. I don't know.
I think so.
So they lost a lot of coaches, which was what happens like when the Niners are really good. They get all their assistant coaches get rated.
Can they do that to the Chiefs, please? I don't think I've seen a single head coach hire come from Andy Reid's coaching tree.
That's
doesn't
weird.
Make sense.
That doesn't make sense. Like if they're they've been in the AFC Championship, is it 7 years in a row? And they haven't. Nobody's taken anybody.
I can't name one. I can't name one.
Was it Eric Bieniemy? I think was the offensive coordinator for a really long time. And I think he went somewhere else to become an offensive coordinator so he could prove his worth to get a head coach because no one wanted to hire him because everybody thought it was Andy Reid. And now and Spagnuolo was a previous defensive coordinator. He was a previous head coach. I'm wondering, since the Tennessee Titans hired their GM, was the assistant GM on the Chiefs. And I haven't heard the Titans have hired a new coach. I'm wondering if they're waiting for after the Super Bowl to interview Spagnuolo and possibly. I hope
Johnson.
so. What?
Ben Johnson?
Well, Ben Johnson went to the Bears. I'm talking Tennessee Titans.
What am I thinking?
I have no idea.
Spagnuolo. Why am I thinking Ben Johnson? Steve Spagnuolo is the defensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
Yes.
I do not know what I was thinking.
I have no idea.
Anyway, where was we? Yes, we hope that as Niners fans, because we don't like the Chiefs and we want to see them lose.
Yes.
and as NFL fans, because we don't like the Chiefs and we want to see them lose. Eagles, please win. I don't know if you are going to. It's a very close matchup on this, but please win. I really want the Chiefs to do. I want to see the Chiefs coaching tree actually become a coaching tree because I haven't seen them.
I know that's
do
kind of
anything.
weird. Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to the big game.
The big game.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what we do every single year for the Super Bowl before we?
The Super Bowl, the party game?
Yeah, our family's Super Bowl party game.
Sure, yeah. So I don't know how we can post it up social media-wise, and if we get this up, maybe we can post it on our Instagram account. We technically have a Twitter account, too.
We don't really use the Twitter anymore.
Yeah, but we could take a picture and put it up there.
I can put a link in. There's going to be a link in the description of this video where there's a copy of it that you can use.
Yeah, we'll either put up on a Google Drive or PDF or something like that up there. We'll copy it in there. So basically what it is, I added a few more into it last year. So there's a whole bunch of, it's like 50 possible points.
Yes.
Where you go, there's some of them, I added this year, were prop bets, where receiving yards for a few things, higher or lower. I took from betting sites. There's other ones I've made up of hey, which one's higher? And it's weird stuff I think one of the ones is I probably could pull it up here if I give myself a minute, but pull up things or things that don't make.
I know one of them that we talked about is that will there be more Chiefs holding calls called in the game, or will there be more successful tush pushes in the game?
So you take these two things that are not close to related, like Saquon Barkley rushing attempts or Patrick Mahomes completions. Which one's going to be higher? The other one I like is Eagles total points or Mahomes completions. So like if Mahomes completes roughly around 20 to 30 completions a game, that's right about where Eagles has the total points. So I try to put these things in there that are like kind of close. Like which one's longer? The length of the successful, the length of the longest successful field goal, or the length of the longest touchdown.
Yeah.
So like if the longest touchdown is, let's say 45 yards, like a pass or a run, but the longest field goal is 55 yards, then your field goal wins. So I put these ones together. And then the ones I've had before for many, many years, there are many things like who's going to win, who's the first person to score, which is the first score of the game, score by halftime, who scores the third touchdown of the game. That's kind of a fun one.
It was really awkward when we did the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl and there wasn't a third touchdown.
Yeah, well, there actually is on that one the option of none. You have three options for that, Chiefs, Eagles, or none. So anyway, we'll post this up there. So if you guys are listening to this, right after we post this thing, hopefully we get this up tonight. We're recorded on Saturday. So you could play along, pass around whoever you're doing it with. Our family, at least, is going to be a $5 buy-in. And the winner gets the pot. So we'll see how many. Probably all.
Wait, I have to pay for this now?
Well, you're the only one in the family that doesn't have a job.
True.
So mom and dad might spot yours.
True. Because this doesn't.
Your sisters and brothers.
This podcast doesn't pay for itself yet.
No. So your sisters and brother may not be happy about that. They all have jobs and they have to put the $5 in if they want to.
Next year, if I have a job, I will pay the $5.
Yes.
However.
Well, that's going to be the middle of basketball season, so you probably won't have a job by then. Probably in 2 years.
Maybe I'll have money by then.
Maybe
to save,
unless we get money off this podcast.
Anyways,
so for the fun. So that's a fun thing we do for the Super Bowl. Again, like there's almost like 50 questions. So the funny thing is like Max and I are we love do the podcast, so we kind of like sports the most. I don't think we ever win. Like it's
I think I got second place last year.
Yeah, I'm like usually really bad at this. Like who recovers their first fumble? You're like, so I put these random questions in here, and you're like,
I know.
And out of 50 questions, like the winner usually gets only like 10 of them right. So it's kind of hard.
I know. I think Mom won last year.
Yeah. Like we've done it sometimes where when
he was on the podcast. I can say that Sam. He was in season 1. I don't know if we're gonna bring him back.
Yeah.
Sam. I think he won the year before that, right? With the Chiefs Eagles as well.
I think he won that one. We used to do when the kids were little and the money to put in there. If you won, you didn't do your chores for the week.
Ooh.
So that was all the kids loved that one because they didn't have to do chores for a whole week. So we've had fun with that over the years. Okay, back to the game.
Let's say this. Who do you think is going to win Super Bowl 59? 59?
It's 59.
59, right.
Super Bowl
okay, good.
59.
LIX, if you think about it, Roman numerals.
Yes.
I have it in front of me. Why
60 next year is at Levi Stadium, in case you want to know.
I want to go.
Yes.
It'll be very expensive.
Yeah. Actually,
I won't go to college, but it'll be worth it.
I'm going down a rabbit hole. Do you ever heard that the prices for the Super Bowl this year are really cheap? Well, comparable to last year's Super Bowl was, I think the get-in price was over like $5,000 to $6,000 to get in the Super Bowl.
Also, wasn't that in? No, that was where that was in Las Vegas. Never mind.
Yeah, it was like $6,000 around roughly to get in the game. This year's game is like less than $3,000. It's like 28, 29 to something like that to get into the game. It's like so much. It's like they're kind of surprised, and it's actually they say the prices are going down as the game's getting closer. Okay, anyway, who's going to win the game? How do you bet? How do you not pick the Chiefs?
That's what. How do you? Because you bet against the Chiefs probably the entire way in this playoff race, except for the Texans game. You thought the Chiefs weren't going to make the Super Bowl.
I know.
I thought the Chiefs weren't going to make the Super Bowl when the season started.
I know.
And then they went 15 and 16 and 6.
Well, 15 and 2, but the last game they didn't play anybody.
That doesn't count.
They didn't play the
The
starters.
16 and 2. The only game that they lost was against the Bills.
Yeah,
but you have their number in the postseason, so it doesn't matter.
You beat them in the playoffs, so you beat them when it matters. How do you not pick them? I also heard another stat, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, but so that I didn't write it down.
Mm-hmm.
In the playoffs, over the last, I think it's like 25-ish years, if a team has been down with, I think, about 2 minutes to go, with a chance to they have the ball and able to drive to win the game.
Against the Chiefs?
No, it's just anybody in the
Okay.
playoffs. Anybody. Like you think of Tom Brady, Joe Montana, all those types of things. You think of all the good, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, anytime in the playoffs, not just Super Bowl, any playoff game.
Any playoff game.
Any playoff game, come back from when you're down, you need a score to win. So you're within a score, you have the ball, it's in your hands, can you go do it? And the best, I think, was like Tom Brady and somebody else, I forget what it was, and they do it about 50% of the time.
Okay.
And I think they were like, let's say it was like 5 out of 10 or 5 out of 11 or 6 out of 11, something like that for Tom Brady. Okay? Patrick Mahomes is 11 and 11. Like, if you're going to beat him in the playoffs, you have to be up by over at least 10 points with 2 minutes to go, or else you're going to lose the game. Like,
yeah.
I mean, the Niners last year, they were up. He comes back and ties it up. Going to overtime. You didn't get the touchdown. You got the field goal. He goes down and wins the game. Like, in the playoffs last week, the Bills actually went up by 8 points.
Yes.
And I forget how much time was left, but there wasn't much time left. And what does he do?
Goes down, gets a touchdown, goes down, gets a field goal.
Yeah. Like,
or the other order. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's
they got like, how do you not pick the Chiefs? Now, I actually think the Eagles have a really good chance. Because if you're going to beat the Chiefs, you need a good running game to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. And they have a really good running game with Saquon Barkley. So, like, I think that my two choices, if my family is listening, for MVP, because this is one of the choices on our pro party, Super Bowl MVP, I think it's either going to be Patrick Mahomes or Saquon Barkley. Like, that's your two choices.
Okay.
That is it. It's either if the Eagles win, it's Saquon because of Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
Or it's Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's it. I don't think Jalen Hurts should win it. I mean, unless something really strange happens. But, like, you're going to win because of Saquon Barkley of the Eagles.
Okay.
Do you agree? What's your thoughts on this?
I really, 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 really don't want the Chiefs to win. But I don't see a possible way that the Eagles can win.
I know.
Because
if I was going to put money down, I'd have to put that on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where am I trying to go with this? My thing is that Steve Spagnuolo's defense is so good that I think he's going to be able to contain Saquon Barkley. So then most of the workload's going to have to go on to Jalen Hurts.
And I don't think he can do it.
Well, he almost did it the first time that they met.
Yeah.
So he could do it. I see a way that they are able to win this game, but
I mean, if you really think about it, I think that the three-peat, if it happens, is going to be because of Spagnuolo. Now, Patrick Mahomes is clutch.
Yes.
Give him that. But if you win, it's because of Steve Spagnuolo's defense and shutting down, like you say, Saquon Barkley. And I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to beat that defense. That defense. The other thing is Steve Spagnuolo's defense. He always brings some unique, different blitz in the end of the game. When it's a close game, which the Chiefs always play close games, they hardly ever blow anybody out.
Their only game over 30 points this season was 2 weeks ago's AFC Championship game.
Yeah, like they don't usually, because their defense is so stinking good, and so he always has this clutch defense. Like if you go back to the Niners in last year's Super Bowl, it might have been an offensive line thing where they didn't block Chris Jones right when they were down the 3rd and goal in the overtime, and they didn't block Chris Jones, so Brock Purdy could find Brandon Ayuk wide open in the end zone. Like he was literally wide open in the end zone on 3rd and goal in the overtime. But if they would have just had one guy at least stop him for half a second, you get a touchdown there.
Yeah,
different. Who knows what's going to happen there? But either way, Steve Spagnuolo's defense always comes through with clutch moments. Like you look at what last week with the Bills, they stopped Josh Allen on the fourth goal. Now I don't know if the refs were that looked like a first down to me, but whatever. We'll forget about the refs today. I've ranted on that enough in the past. So like they're always clutch on the defense. Like so, yeah, they are a very clutch team. Like in NBA, you get clutch points. You know, they are a super clutch team. So if the Eagles are going to win, it's going to be because they're up by 10 with about 2 to 3 minutes to go in the game.
And they have the ball.
Yeah. And then they can run the clock out with Saquon Barkley. Like that's the only way you're going to win the game. Which I think is possible.
Yes.
But I don't think I'm going to bet on it.
If I was a betting man, I would put about $2 because I don't want to bet that much money on the Chiefs.
Huge bet, Mac.
Huge bet.
Huge bet.
Spending so much money. Here's
$5 to buy into the cereal party. You get like 2 on the Chiefs.
I do not want to get a gambling problem. I know that if I get a gambling problem, I will be the worst gambler you know. I am not going anywhere near that stuff.
Okay.
If I get a big payout, it is over for me. I will not have a house. I will not have food to eat. I will spend too much money. Never bring me to a casino. The shiny lights are too tempting.
Okay. Maybe you can bring your brother-in-law because he says he's supposedly pretty lucky. Anyway. Okay.
Lucky. It's a whatever. Nope.
Anyway,
I'm not going to.
No. Okay.
I'm not gonna talk about
anything else you
gambling
want to say about the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay.
I hope it's a good game.
Yeah, next time probably in our podcast we have not done a kind of Niners off season. I think either one of the next couple podcasts we'll do a Niners off season. Hey, what do we think is going to happen? But we'll not do that today because there was a little bit of stuff happen in the NBA. Just a little bit of stuff.
Before we talk about the Kings.
Okay.
Who the heck? Hold on, I have to look up his name. Dallas Mavericks.
It's Nico Manning.
Nico Manning. You had to hire bodyguards because you're getting death threats for how stupid you are. Do you realize how dumb you have to be to trade LUKA Doncic, the star of your team that sent you to the NBA Finals? Imagine the Lakers trading away Shaq.
Well, well, they actually did.
No, imagine the Lakers trading away Shaq the first year they make the finals.
Oh, yeah, in their prime. Yeah, totally.
And you go, what are you doing? Ooh, I just hit the mic. What are you doing? There is no how, in what world does trading LUKA Doncic for literally anybody make sense? I talked about this. I told you before, not on podcast, but if you go like a week before the trade happened, there's NBA trade like rankings of if you go high up on the list, those are the players you do not trade. Number 1, Victor Wembanyama. I think I'm remembering this right. Number 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep.
Number 3, LUKA Doncic. What are you doing?
You don't trade that dude.
There are literal protests outside your stadium because of how stupid you are.
Yeah, did you see so the first off, the Mavs fans are asking for season ticket refunds.
Yes.
They've brought a coffin out front of the arena and set a coffin down. Where do you even find a coffin like that? Like, it's not a simple one.
You don't just buy a coffin.
Anyway, how do you get a coffin? Whatever. But they took a coffin. I heard today they're outside shooting LUKA. And like they want to type of fire Nico Manning.
When I heard that, I was like, oh, did Shams get hacked? Is this like a thing where you come back like 2 minutes later and it's like, sorry, account got hacked. No, LUKA's not getting traded. Anyway, moving on. And then the next day passed, and I go, oh,
that's real.
Oh no!
So it was after you had a school play. It was after the play. Were you at the dinner when you got the notification?
I was helping clean up, and I look at my phone and I go, huh?
So I was watching a movie, and I remember about 30 minutes left in the movie, my phone just starts getting the ESPN, whatever the noise is, Yeah, you get that on my nose. It probably went off like 3 or 4 times.
And you go, what is happening?
And I'm like, I'm watching a movie. Well, Gladiator 2, by the way. Anyway.
Oh, good movie?
Yeah, good movie. Gladiator 2. I liked it.
How did they get sharks in the Coliseum?
And is that just something they made up?
That's something they made up. But like,
yeah.
Anyway, that's not the point.
Did they even fill the water up? Like, did they really?
No.
How did they pump water in the Roman Colosseum in the first century?
They didn't.
Or even the second century?
They didn't.
And bring sharks in.
That's not the point of the movie. Anyway.
So I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, it's an
Wondering
intense
about the
movie.
Sharks.
Wondering about the Sharks. And how the Sharks get in the Roman Coliseum. And I'm like, so I'm ignoring it. And then after the thing, I'm like, oh, hey, what's happening? I had to literally call Max, and he's out to dinner with the party after the after party. I'm like, what? What? And like, so he's out to dinner with the whole people, and he put me on speakerphone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? What?
I just you told me I just have to tell someone because I can't process this.
I know. And so you're like, and I'm like,
I don't even
when I first saw it, I'm like, no way. I'm like, okay, I had to scroll through Twitter to make sure that other people said the same thing.
Yeah.
To make sure this is true. Like, that's the craziest thing ever. I mean, there's been other trades in the NBA or even in the sports world. Like, I don't think this is the like, he's only 25, Luka Doncic. How do you trade a guy?
How are there? Okay, this is the funniest thing to me. There are actual conspiracy theories about why Luka got traded because of ratings. That NBA ratings are so bad right now that that Adam Silver called the Dallas Mavericks GM and said, had like an owners meeting and said, we have to do something to get ratings up.
Well, all these trades this last week and a half, I mean, was it 25, 26? I went through and scrolled through the list of all the trades going back to like end of December when Dennis Schroeder got traded to the Warriors.
Yes.
From that point forward, there was about 25, 26 trades. Now, like maybe one or two of them happened in December. But that means the majority of them happened in the last week. So there's so many trades. Like we were going to talk about how many trades we're going to talk about, but like we can't even talk about all the trades on this.
Dennis Schroeder has been on 4 teams in 2 months.
Yeah. And you're like, so there's so many trades. Like if you want ratings up, you just cause chaos. Like, you know, and I eventually might get to this, but like if you look at the NBA standings and you're like,
I don't know what's going to happen, man.
Yeah, you're like, if you're to try to predict like what's going to happen, like I have no idea who's going to be where.
Okay, let's
do this right now. Yeah.
Cleveland Cavaliers, they're going to be good.
Well, they got DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks. Like, so they actually got better.
Yeah.
I don't think the Celtics did anything or the Knicks.
The Celtics are going to be good. The Knicks are going to be good.
And really, that's the top 3. That's really the top 3. I mean, the Bucks might get into the top 4. And really, that's all that really is going to be good in the East. Like, I think the East is those 4. I'm sorry, Indiana.
And then there's
how's Detroit the 6th team? Miami
Detroit
Detroit is 6th right now. Miami Heat is 7th.
The Kings have a better record. We're 25 and 26. Actually, no, we have a worse record. We're 1 game behind the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah, how'd that happen? Anyways,
moving on.
Yeah, so you're like, but there's like chaos down there. Like Atlanta traded a lot of people away.
Terrible. Oh
Chicago traded away Zach LaVine, which we'll get into. Like, and they got Kevin Huerter. Like, I'm sorry, that's a downgrade. Like the Nets were trading people. Toronto actually got Brandon Ingram, so down at the bottom. The Washington Wizards, the worst team in the league, traded away Kyle Kuzma. You're like, okay, that's just the East. Then you go to the West. Oklahoma City Thunder, they didn't trade for anybody, but you know who they got back from the injury report this week?
Sorry, you're saying so many names.
Okay, going to the Western Conference. Oklahoma City Thunder. They didn't do a trade.
But who did they get back from the injury report?
Yes, that's been out for almost the whole season. And
Chet Holmgren?
Yes.
You got to be kidding me.
So Chet Holmgren came back last night.
They've only lost 9 games without Chet?
Yes.
What are we doing?
like they're totally the odds-on favorite in the West. Like it's not even close. I still think Memphis and Houston in the West. I don't believe them.
How did the Warriors win 75 games?
In one? No,
73.
They won 73 one year.
How do they win 73 games?
That was a crazy year.
How do you
only lose 9 games?
Okay, that makes sense. But like, how do you not lose?
They were just
that.
They were just dominant. That was the year of Steph and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant. No one could stop them.
No, Kevin Durant wasn't there yet.
Oh, that's true. That was the year before.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay,
it's Harrison Barnes.
I just want to say one more thing about the Luka Doncic trade before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's Luka Doncic, right?
Yes.
If you actually want to trade him because of concerns about his health and his things about the team. Now, I can say a lot of things about why you would never trade Luka. That's not the point here. That's not the point here. That's not the point.
Do you want to hear why Nico wanted to trade him? Have you heard the reason?
Because defense wins championships.
Well, he also was afraid that Luka Doncic would never get in top shape. He's never been in great shape.
I don't care. He's Luka Doncic anyway.
Yeah,
I don't care. I
I'm
don't
not
care.
backing-
I don't
know if I don't agree with what he did, but that's what Nico Manning said.
Okay. So you want to have Anthony Davis. Cool. You didn't have a bidding war for him? Do you know how much you could get back for Luka Doncic? You could probably get Jason Tatum, and the Celtics would shake your hand
Yeah,
gladly.
and some draft picks. They only got one first-round draft pick. Of course, the Lakers don't have anybody else to give.
They gave away Max Christie and Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic.
And a first-round pick.
Why would you do that? Why would you? If I would trade away Sabonis and who's Max Christie on the? I would trade away. I'd trade away the DeMontis Sabonis and Devin Carter in a first-round pick for Luka Doncic any day of the week.
Would you trade De'Aaron Fox for Luka Doncic?
Yes.
Okay, just
Full
checking.
stop.
Just checking.
Just full stop.
yeah.
I would do that in a heartbeat.
I don't know.
Okay.
Since we looked at this, like the Clippers got a few people back. I forget who they got. It's too many names. The Lakers are up to 4th now, and Luka hasn't even started playing. Now technically they're tied with Houston, so 4 and 5 they're tied, or virtually tied. The Clippers got a few people back, so they're better. Dallas is 8th right now, with Anthony Davis, has he played yet? I'm not sure if he's played yet.
He hasn't played yet.
Phoenix is a mess, but they're a slightly better mess than the Kings because they're 26 and 25. The Kings are 25 and 26. The Kings are actually tied with Golden State for 10th in the West. And then you got San Antonio Spurs.
How is there? Okay.
Who got better?
There are 13 teams in contention for the playoffs right now in the West.
Are you including Portland?
Yes,
I wouldn't include Portland.
They're
Okay.
they're one game behind this. They're half a game behind the Spurs.
You kind of have to. Okay, yeah, and they're actually on
And
a hot
then,
streak. I mean, they've won.
They've won 9 out of their last 10.
I think that was 11 because they beat the Kings.
Yeah.
Now it's 10 out of 11. But either way, keep going.
But I'm just looking at the standings. There's a 10-game drop-off between the Portland Trailblazers and the Utah Jazz. And I just think, can we be in the East, please? I'd much rather be the 7th seed right now. That'd be a lot No, much rather be the 8th seed right now. That'd be a lot easier than whatever we're in.
But if you look at where the Kings, so the Spurs and the Trailblazers are 2.5 to 3 games behind the Kings and the Warriors.
Yeah.
If you go from the 11th spot for the Warriors, Kings and Warriors, up to let's just go to the 6th spot. So there's 5 teams there from 6 to 11. They're within 3.5 games of each other. And I think those 5 to 6 teams, I even think San Antonio's going to get up in there. I don't know if Portland's going to catch up. Maybe, because they got De'Aaron Fox. I think it's going to be a crazy madhouse for the playoffs for the rest of the season. Like, I could not give a great expectation of who's going to make the play-in, because 2 of those teams can't make the play-in, like if you include the Spurs.
And the Spurs just got De'Aaron Fox.
And did you see what he did last night?
Yeah, he almost hit a game winner.
Yeah, it was like seconds. It was still in his hand as he left it. He hit a game
Milliseconds away.
Yeah, milliseconds from winning. Like, that's what he does. But like, they're going to start winning more games, which is why they trade.
Okay, if I could do this, if I could predict the play-in. I don't know about the playoffs. That's going to be a weird jumbled mess. If I can predict the play-in, I think the Mavericks are going to fall out of the play-in with Anthony Davis because their team is kind of constructed around having Luka Doncic.
That would be so weird. They trade away Luka Doncic and they don't even make the play-in.
And I think that Anthony Davis is an aging star, and you pair him with an aging star of Kyrie Irving and an aging person of Klay Thompson, and you get what?
Well, then they have and they're probably always going to play with 2 bigs because they have it's Lively and Derek Lively and starts with the G.
I don't know.
Anyway, the Gafford. I want to say Gafford, but that's not right. Anyway, so
I think they're going to fall off. I think they're going to fall out of the play-in, and I don't think the Warriors are going to move from the 11th seed.
Yeah, I don't think the Warriors are going to move.
I don't know about the Kings though, but I think if I could, let me say this: 7th seed, LA Clippers.
Okay.
8th seed, Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
9th seed, San Antonio Spurs. 10th seed, Sacramento Kings.
Ooh, Kings Spurs in a play-in tournament game.
Ratings. Ratings, baby. Ratings.
That would be a nightmare for the Kings.
If we lose,
Going into that game, that's a nightmare. Like, that is a nightmare of a game.
anyways,
But I totally see it happen. Okay, we've talked.
let's talk about the Kings trades. What have
Okay.
they done? Let's work backwards because I have some stuff to say about De'Aaron Fox. I don't want to save that for the end. But
Jake LaRavia.
we've got a wing somehow. When did that happen?
Wow, we actually traded for a wing.
We haven't had a wing since Keegan Murray. That's crazy.
Well, we haven't added a wing since Keegan Murray. But yeah, you're like,
Trey Lyles. Well, I also like the addition. What's his name?
oh, Jonas Valanciunas?
Not Jonas Valanciunas, the other guy that we just talked about, the wing.
Oh, Jake LaRavia.
Jake LaRavia. I like him because he's a 3-and-D.
Oh yeah, totally.
He's a 3-and-D. It is what the Kings have needed for ever.
Yeah.
So that's a great pickup for the Kings. One of the things that I actually like that Monte has been doing for the past few years. I hope that it works out though, because I'm just liking it on paper. I hope I actually like it in practice.
The funny thing is so when you look at the Kings the way they're constructed now, you need people like Jake LaRavia who can. He's like 44% from three, and he's just in some ways like you when you're a basketball player. He just fills things in. Like if you watch him play defense, like he's not a lockdown defender, but he gets in passing lanes. He knows where to be in the right spot. Like he's a smart player. Like I really liked him coming out of the draft a couple of years ago. I was hoping the Kings might get him.
He's never going to be a star on the team, but he's going to be a piece in the puzzle.
He's a super great piece of the puzzle. Like, and that's what the Kings have so many other shooters or scorers. Let's call them scorers. Like he's a shooter. And he's really good at defense. So, like, he's great. We'll hopefully get to see him tonight against the Pelicans, and we'll see how that goes. But I really love this pickup, Jake LaRavia. Out of all the three trades, this is probably my favorite. So,
my favorite trade.
Okay.
Well, because of being the rotation wise, I think Jonas Valanciunas. Why the heck is this thing being so weird with me right now? I think Jonas Valanciunas is a really big pickup for the Kings because
he's a big dude.
Because he's a big dude. You don't have to play Alex Len anymore, which I love Alex Len. I respect you, and you're probably a really nice human. But
I've heard that he actually is a really good guy.
Yeah, but the way he's on the bench and like on the court, he seems like really nice.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, you're not Jonas Valanciunas. He's like kind of a bruiser type player, and it's like I've said this multiple years. We need a bruiser. We need someone like not Draymond Green, but we need someone like a Draymond Green to be this guy with attitude that can go and do
Lyles
stuff.
does it a little bit.
And Trey Lyles does it a little bit, but he's not the size that Jonas Valanciunas is, and
he's a huge man.
He's a very large man.
Yeah.
The thing that I like most about this trade is that Trey Lyles isn't really supposed to be a center. He's supposed to be a power forward type player, but we've been playing him at center because who else do you play at center when Sabonis isn't in?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I like this for rotation wise because Valanciunas can actually play center and be big and not have the small ball line of Trey Lyles, and I forget how tall Trey Lyles is.
6'9" or 6'8".
Yeah, 6'9" versus Jonas Valanciunas, almost 7 feet tall.
And just a thick dude. Just
ball
strong.
of muscle.
Yeah.
But I like this.
And he sets really good screens.
Great pickup for the Kings. And we didn't have to give up a lot for him, which is good.
No, we gave up a second-round draft pick in Sidi Sudoku. Which the interesting thing is, in all these weirdness of trades, I was actually reading about. We got Jonas Valanciunas, because of the Jimmy Butler trade. He was actually going to be a throw-in somewhere in there to fit things around in a 3-team weird trade where he was going to be included in some sort of the deal. He was part of that. Maybe we'll get to that, but there's a possibility of Jimmy Butler going to the Suns and Bradley Beal being around. And so there was a big convoluted where the Wizards were waiting until Jimmy Butler got traded, and then once that happened, then they could trade Jonas Valanciunas to the Kings. It's like that was kind of the backup plan, which is I've heard other times when we were not the backup plan, or the backup plan didn't happen and they went to somebody else. So I'm very glad we got him. Yeah, there's some weird stories about how all these trades happen. But yeah, I'm very happy we got him. We actually got to finally he's a starting level center in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he's our backup center. I don't know if we'll ever see Sabonis and Valanciunas on the court together. They are teammates from Lithuania, so they're good buds. It's a good reason. Like Valanciunas is probably going to love to be here, as long as we win. But he during his first press conference when he after he got traded, he's like I'm super happy, and so I'm like because the Washington Wizards are the worst team in the league.
There's a lot better places than you can be than 9-42.
Yeah. Like competing for the playoffs. I mean, here at a team that's right about 500 competing. Like I want to be here. So that's awesome. So I love the Jake LaRavia and I love the Jonas Valanciunas trades. Those are really good trades.
And now we get to the tough one. Okay, I want to say this before we start. You know how a couple episodes ago we were doing the sports therapy session? We were talking about our feelings for the Niners because we were in the acceptance stage of we're not gonna be good this year. We just need to talk about it and talk about how we've been injured.
Yes.
De'Aaron Fox has been my favorite player on the Kings for as long as I can remember, because before I was barely conscious and had like thoughts and desires of my own because I'm just a little dumb, stupid baby. Yes. It was the end of the DeMarcus Cousins era in Sacramento. And like just moving, I think I have one memory of going to a game in Sleep Train Arena, not Arco Arena, Sleep Train Arena for me.
Okay.
I was never there for Arco. Sorry to any people who are slightly older than me watching this and just felt a gut wrench in their heart. My bad. But I never really felt attached to DeMarcus Cousins as but not necessarily for the way that he played or the type of person that he was, but because I didn't really grow up with him. But I grew up with De'Aaron Fox. I remember sitting on the couch and watching him get drafted and going, "Who is that? I don't know what's happening. What is a basketball?" But
I mean, you played in elementary, but
I
still,
played in elementary.
But it was 7 years ago, so you were 10.
I was 10 years old.
Which the funny thing is if I look back at my sports memories, like my first sports memory was when I was 9, watching the Niners win Super Bowl 19 against the Dolphins.
Can I do that? Can I have that?
So you're about that time when De'Aaron Fox came around is when I started liking the Niners because, hey, they just won the Super Bowl and they're like the local team. So and
I like the Sacramento Kings because you brought me into this.
I did.
Why couldn't I just be a Lakers fan?
But you're like, yeah, and like he was the best player on the team. Like he was supposed to be after we traded DeMarcus Cousins. He was supposed to be the next best player.
He is the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
He was the face of the franchise
for 7 years.
And I remember distinctly after a practice of club basketball that we had together. We sat down at a little table before getting in our car, and watching the De'Aaron Fox game winner against the Miami Heat in those powder blue, baby blue Sacramento Kings jerseys. I remember both of us like raising our arms when that happened. And I didn't, and I learned like while we were driving in the car that was the first time that we've beaten Miami in 8 years.
It was maybe even longer than that.
And it was just
yeah,
crazy. It was also probably because LeBron James was in Miami for a long time. But
yeah, and the Kings were not very good at that time frame. But yeah,
one of my earliest memories of a basketball highlight is De'Aaron Fox, and to see him go is weird.
Yeah, it's gut-wrenching in a way.
It's like, and it's weird to say this, it's like saying goodbye to a friend after you graduate high school.
Which you haven't done yet.
Which I haven't done yet, but like I'm pretty sure I can imagine it. Like I guess for me it would be middle school because I don't see all those people, but like you see them sometimes, and like he's an NBA player, so I'm gonna see him a lot more. But like I don't really have anything against him going to the Spurs because it was his decision to go to the Spurs, but he did it want to be traded. He wanted to be a king forever, but for some reason we decided to move away from him.
Well,
so
we could get into that later, but yeah.
But he said that he wanted to retire king, but he also wanted to compete. And after that, Monte decided that, well, if we want to compete, we can't have De'Aaron Fox around. So he traded him away to the Spurs.
Well, that's not totally the story. So I don't know if in the last day or two, De'Aaron Fox was texting with a couple Kings media players, or not King players, Kings media. So Carmichael Dave, I think it was Damian Barling and a few others, local media players, personalities. And so I listened to the 20 minutes of Carmichael Dave talking, and I listened to some of the others where he talks about why he left. Now, he says, I don't have time to come on the radio to talk about it. Maybe in the future, we'll see. But I got to focus on my team. So I'm just going to text you guys. He's like, you can read these things. So he's like, first off, there was two things he wanted to do to stay as a Sacramento King. He wanted to compete for a championship. And number two, he wanted a stable organization. When you fired Mike Brown, you basically walked De'Aaron Fox out the door. That's basically what happened. I'd heard that like a couple days before of like, if you like, what do you do? Like when the Kings were in that back in December, and you're like, what do you do? Something needs to change. Something needs to change. And but the thing is like, if you fire Mike Brown, you're probably saying goodbye to De'Aaron Fox because De'Aaron Fox likes Mike Brown, and if you get rid of him, you're probably getting rid of both. And then the other part that came out of this text conversation was he was like, okay, I didn't like that. But then when the organization didn't stand up and have a press conference and say, Monte McNair standing up and saying, I fired Mike Brown and this is why, you let the national media think De'Aaron Fox got him fired, which is the exact opposite. And then you got into the part where he was talking about how you let all the players had to, they do their post-game press conferences, so they have to talk to the media all the time. Because he let the players take the brunt for this firing Mike Brown and you guys didn't talk, you lost De'Aaron Fox because you guys were a stupid organization.
Yeah.
And if I was De'Aaron Fox in his shoes, he wants to compete and win a championship.
Why would you not want to compete and win a championship? That's the entire point of
playing. And he's been saying, Kings, you need to do something. Well, they got DeMar DeRozan, which helps a little, but it wasn't enough. And like you can see where the Kings are. They're fighting for a play-in tournament. They're not competing for the top half of the Western Conference. You're being real, like, what's the chances of them win the championship? If they kept De'Aaron Fox, what were they going to do to win the championship in the next couple of years? Like, being real, like, they're doing nothing, and we kept saying, Monte McNair, you got to do something, you got to do something, you got to do something, and you fired Mike Brown. Well, that alienated your best player. Then you didn't have a press conference. That made him upset because you're making him out in the wing, and he's like, fine, I'm done. Like, so, Monte McNair, this is on you. Vivek Ranadive?
It's sad to think this, but this is just same old Kings.
Which is sad.
Because I thought we had something at some point.
Yeah, I thought Monte McNair has finally come on and being I don't know if you would call it let's call it a quality GM. I want a quality GM. Like when we had Jeff Petrie. Anyway,
if I could have a message to, are we? I know you said you wanted to go to the Spurs game when they come to Sacramento.
I don't know if that's gonna. Yeah, I might look into that. We need to go somewhere.
If we can go to that game, this is a message for De'Aaron Fox. I also posted this on my Instagram. Follow me there. I don't really post anything besides like what's happening in my life on my stories, but I at one point, I think in your second, I'm pretty sure is also still your second year in the league.
Second or third year, yeah.
It wasn't your third year because I remember for third year we didn't go to the Fan Fest, but we did go to this
okay.
California Classic. in your second year, this is messaged to you and Fox directly. At one point during the Kings Fan Fest, if you even remember what that is, little Max went down and had this poster that said "Flying Fox" on it. It had a picture of you with your dreads still on. So that's how long this ago was. With a picture of a fox who has little wings on his back, and that fox has a basketball. So I remember bringing that poster down, and it's inside your hands. You're going to sign it, and then you get called away to do something, so you can't sign it. So then you hand it back to me, and you have to go do something. I have not had another chance like that in 6 years. And I don't know if I'm going to have another chance to do that. So I'm wearing the same jersey that I wore that day right now to say that if there's some way that we could make this happen, that would make a Kings fan really happy.
Well, maybe we'll have to go to that game, and you have to get there as early as possible so when he goes off the court for his warm-ups and be down there. But anyway, so yeah. As you can see, losing De'Aaron Fox is kind of emotional. If you move into kind of the basketball side of things for a few minutes here before you wrap up.
Okay,
the basketball side.
Let's move away from the trades and like the like business side of this, and like actually talk about what the Kings are doing.
Yes.
Afterwards.
Okay.
So the trade. When did the trade happen?
It was last Sunday, I think it was.
Okay, so then immediately after that, we played the Timberwolves. Yes.
Yeah, the Timberwolves, was that the game before?
No, because that was Monday, February 3rd.
Okay.
So you did win when you had this. Okay, so you have had one win with this.
Okay, sorry.
Happy birthday.
And that was before Zach LaVine was not in uniform, and you won.
Yes. Okay. And then you lose to the Wizards immediately after that.
No Magic. Not the Wizards.
Sorry, the Wizards use Magic. My bad. You lose to the Magic, which is like, okay, the Magic's kind of good this year, but you lost by 29.
Yeah, no, you lost by
19. So it's not a good look.
The funny thing is when you lost to the Magic, the Magic are like anti-Kings. What are the Kings? A whole bunch of short players. What are the Magic? A whole bunch of length and athleticism. It's like the exact opposite of what the Kings players are.
Yeah.
Is the land of Magic. And it's just a horrible matchup for the Kings. Anyway.
And then 2 days ago, because we're recording this on Saturday, February the 8th, for any of those out there. So this is before Super Bowl Sunday. Hopefully we get this out before the Super Bowl happens. And if we don't, my bad. That was probably my fault. Anyways.
So we lost to the Trailblazers.
We lost to the Trailblazers. And that was just a sad game to watch. Now, the Trailblazers, like we said, they are 11-1 in their... not 11-1. 10-1 in their last 11.
Yeah, so they're on a hot streak. But when you watched both the Magic game and the Trailblazers game, now, again, I totally agree. It's going to take a while to integrate Zach LaVine into the offense. He's a big part of what's going to happen. And Jonas Valanciunas. And then tonight, we're going to play with Jake LaRavia against the Pelicans tonight. Okay. But the offense does not look good with Zach LaVine. What does Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan do? They are both ball stoppers. What is the Kings' offense around? It's around movement and player movement. And when you watch those first two games, it looks very clunky on offense. The offense is not free-flowing. It's supposed to be an equal opportunity offense. Like, if you're not open, we pass it over here. Like, we're moving. It is not. Now, they had better fix that, and they don't have much practice time because they play a lot in the next week or two. They actually play the Pelicans tonight, and then they actually go to Dallas. So that might be I don't know if Anthony Davis is playing, probably. And then you play 2 more games against the Pelicans, and then you have the All-Star break. So we have 4 more games for the All-Star break, and then 3 against the Pelicans, which are the worst team in the West, right?
Yes. Pelicans? The Pelicans are the worst
team.
They are the worst team in the West.
They're technically tied with. Well, they're slightly.
They're half a game behind the Utah Jazz, but it's not a good team.
Okay. So,
you
better win.
Thinking back, the Pelicans are a bad team. They traded away Brandon Ingram. All of them are injured to high heaven.
Zion's back.
Zion's back.
And
but
Jamonte Murray,
CJ McCollum,
So they have CJ McCollum, I think, and Zion, but they lost. Is it Jamonte Murray?
Brandon Ingram,
And Brandon Ingram to trade.
Yeah, I know.
Dejounte Murray to I think because of Achilles injury.
Okay.
Herb Jones is out. So like, yeah, they have CJ McCollum and Zion, so you got to play hard. Either way, the Kings play them a lot. They had better on the fly. They don't have much practice time to figure this out, and they have to start winning games. When you are tied with the Warriors for 10 and 11 spot,
and you're going to play them right after the All-Star break.
yeah.
You need to pick this up.
You need to like figure this out offensively and defensively, really quick. Like you traded away. The interesting thing that as you look at this is, and Malik Monk's going to get this. Malik Monk was really good with De'Aaron Fox.
Yes.
You want to know why?
Because they were friends.
No. Well, it's a little bit.
Well, chemistry. Some
Okay.
of that.
Okay. No, that's not what I'm going to. When De'Aaron Fox is on the court, he demands the best defensive player.
Yes.
Now, when you look at the Kings, where do you put your best defensive player?
DeMar DeRozan?
Zach LaVine? Malik Monk?
Like, it's a bonus he gets the big man.
Yeah. So you're like, the best defensive player would go, back before this, would go to number 1, De'Aaron Fox, number 2, DeMar DeRozan. So Malik Monk got the third best defender. Now, you might get the second or the first Malik Monk, and he's like when the game that they played against the last game in OKC with De'Aaron Fox, they were playing a close game, and then De'Aaron Fox went off the court, and they switched Jalen Williams from De'Aaron Fox to Malik Monk, and he had like 2 or 3 turnovers in a row. You're like, life without De'Aaron Fox is going to be hard, no matter how good Zach LaVine is. Because now the defenders, what the other team's doing against you is going to be different. So the Kings had better figure this out on really quick. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if they're going to do it fast enough. Like I thought before, maybe we can get up to like the 6th spot or something like that and actually make it, not have to go through the play-in. I don't think we're going to get that high. I think we're going to be stuck in the play-in tournament. I even hope we just make the play-in tournament. I hope we're 7 or 8 so that you can actually lose one, still make the playoffs. But I don't think we're going to get up to 6 right now, as of on February 8th. Maybe I hope I'm wrong. Okay,
We thought the Mike Brown firing was a mistake, and then they won 9 out of their last 10. So
maybe I'm wrong again. Maybe I'm just bad at
I
predicting
really,
things.
really stop hitting them. I really, really, really want to be wrong.
I totally agree.
But I don't think, because like there's a difference between a coaching change and you changing half your roster.
Yeah, because we shipped out 6 players, 5 players, and we brought back 3. And that's a huge shuffle of your roster.
From the 2022 to 2023 Beam team, the only players that are left are DeMontis Sabonis, Malik Monk, Keon Ellis, who barely even played that season, and Trey Lyles.
Keegan Murray. You forgot
And
about
Keegan Murray, my bad.
Yeah.
You have a starting 5 left.
Yeah, and that's it. The other thing I've noticed, at least the first 2 games, with Zach LaVine out there, says because the ball doesn't move and Keegan Murray doesn't demand the ball, he's not getting the ball even to shoot. Like, they had better fix the Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan had better play Kings basketball and not the ball stopping that they played in Chicago. So, anyway, now we're getting repetitive. So, we miss you, De'Aaron Fox. If you're listening, if you ever hear this, we'd love for you to hear the Eastman Sport Report, but let us know.
Could you come in as a guest star, pretty please, one time?
Yeah.
Maybe during the off season?
Yeah, that'd be really awesome.
Please.
Come into the Eastman Sport Report studios. We have another microphone.
We have another mic if we need to use it.
Yes, if we have a guest, we could have a guest on here. But we're really going to miss you, De'Aaron Fox. Thank you for 7+ years. I might turn into. I actually kind of always respected the San Antonio Spurs. Do I want to be a Spurs fan?
No, you don't.
Kings are always going to be number 1.
Yeah.
But Spurs might be number 2. No.
I'll root for the Spurs, but I'll never be a Spurs fan.
That's probably a better way to put it. Never ever be a fan, but I'm going to root for them. So.
Like how I root for the Bills, but I don't really pay attention to the Bills as much.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll miss you, De'Aaron Fox. Thank you for your 7+ years of being here in Sacramento King. We greatly appreciated your time here. To baby Rain, to his wife, CD Caldwell. We'll miss you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, hope everybody's listening, and thank you for listening to our Eastman Sport Report. Talk to you guys later.
We'll see you next time.